Welcome back. The Q review, actually episode number 35 that we've ever made. So a little bit of a milestone there.
There we go.
Yep, number 35. That means 35 episodes of talking to Theo for an hour plus. Theo, what's going on, my man?
It must suck, talking to me for 35 times, but good to be back. I missed this a lot. The break was good and all the other delays that we had, but it's great to be back. I missed you. I missed the fans too, and it's good. It's good to be back.
Voice is nice and clear. That new mic.
The new mic is electric. It's good. It's good quality. Worth the money for sure.
So what was the top Christmas gift that you got?
Oh, top Christmas gift. I'm at the age now where I didn't really get a lot of things, but I hate to say it, but honestly, a lot of alcohol. Alcohol was honestly like my mom got me that like Christmas tree pack from Coldstream. The little I don't know, it was like a little giveaway, I think, or something.
Calendar?
Yeah, the Advent calendar or whatever it was. That was pretty sweet. Got a good use of those, and clothes, obviously a big one. But nothing too exciting. Q review hats, that was a good one. But,
where'd you get those?
What? No, I'm saying for other people. For
our
my buddy.
Christmas gifts.
Yeah, our Christmas gifts. But yeah, no, other than that, it was good. What about you? What was your favorite?
The only thing I asked for was dress clothes, not gonna lie. Going to the rink all the time, doing play-by-play. I like to look presentable. Like, it's not part of my dress code to dress up. But I do like, if I see people around the rink, I do like to look kind of professional.
Yeah, you never.
So I got a couple pea coats. My mom got me a couple suits, which she admitted were from Value Village, but they were good suits, man. You know what? You can find great suits at Value Village.
Oh yeah, no, you can get anything good. It's kind of Value Village is kind of slumping now, in my opinion, but you can find really good stuff. But hey, you got to dress to impress, especially at the rink. You never know who you're gonna run into, so good impression counts.
Yeah, my girlfriend Emily also got me she got me a dress outfit, new dress shoes. Shout out to her. She got me a box of socks, and it was like 8 days of socks. So like one of them is like laundry day, so it's got a bunch of laundry stuff right
Nice.
on. Then it's got like hump day, so Wednesday, so it's got camels on it and stuff.
That's sick.
Stuff like that. Taco Tuesday, it's got like the hot sauce and all that. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Funny socks make the look.
Yeah.
As much as people don't see them.
Yeah.
I did a game with Eastlink, and it was a Sunday, so I wore my football socks. Football Sunday is always huge. Definitely Mavs Gillis, Miami Dolphins couldn't get the so Mavs, if you're listening, I'm really sorry.
We'll talk about that in a second about NFL, but we got to give a little congrats to Chris Tracy, first Eastlink play-by-play. Do a little sound effect on yourself.
Do my own clap. Okay. I didn't want to, man, because I don't want to do my own clap. That's just not cool.
I know. I don't have it here, so pretend I'm doing it. But no, that's huge. Obviously a huge milestone, Got the puck too. And I heard Troy was telling me this weekend that you called him he called you 45 minutes before the game and got your pea coat on. And
let me walk you through that day. So I dropped my girlfriend off at work. It was 11 a.m. I was just coming from the valley. And I get home and I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a day just to chill, get all my school stuff ready. I had school the next day at 8:30. So I was like, all right, I'm going to chill today. I get a call, Troy Langstaff. I was actually about to nap when Troy called me, and he goes, what are you doing tonight? I go, well, I wasn't going to do anything. And he goes, yeah, we're going to do a game at 7:00. Have to be there by 4. I'm like, all right, that's good. So I had about 2 hours or so to do my notes up. I don't know anything about the U18 league. I'm going to be honest with you. And it was fun. It worked out. Color's so much easier when you have a replay cam. You can easily, when I do Dal games, there's no replay. So I can't remember what happened. I just banked that my color guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. Follow his lead.
Yeah. So no, it was fun though. Did my internship there. That was one of those opportunities that if I didn't take the internship, they wouldn't even have called me. So that just goes to show you, put your foot in the door and good things can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. yeah, that's huge. And then I assume you'll probably keep going with it.
Oh, you're muffling. There you go.
Oh, it was going so well. But yeah, no, that's huge though.
Yeah, so I mean, New Year's resolutions. What do you got?
Ooh, gym more, for sure. That's just an easy one, but I would say this: grind a little more in this. Just keep the grind going with the pod. Um, and I don't know, just I don't know, be be more positive. How about that? How about that one? That's a good one,
Yeah.
eh?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll be more positive. Absolutely.
yeah,
Uh, New
goes a
Year's
long way.
resolutions. Let's see here. Grow the pod. That's an obvious one. Um, I said I'm going to the gym more. So I switched memberships. I get a good deal through work. I switched from Fit for Less to Good Life. Um, honestly, like a lot of people like crap on that Good Life in Dartmouth, but it was sick. I walk in, there's complimentary shampoo, conditioner,
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
body wash in the shower, so I don't even really need to bring mine. Uh, now the stuff sucks. Like it's crappy
Yeah,
shampoo. Like if
it's
I
like
forget,
hotel shampoo.
yeah, if I forget it, it's there.
Yeah,
And then complimentary towel service with my membership, so I don't have to bring a stinky ass towel everywhere.
yeah,
I would find myself leaving it in my gym bag, go to the girlfriends, go to work, go to school, and then it's
yeah,
all nasty,
yeah,
gross.
yeah,
They have a sauna, so
yeah.
kind
Oh,
of,
you screw the gym, eh? You're just in the sauna the whole time.
dude, it hits different. Like you go to class in the morning and you go to the gym before, like sitting in that sauna for 10 minutes makes a big
Yeah,
difference. I was
yeah,
chilling, watching Netflix, just
yeah.
hanging out, nothing but a towel. Like that's how you have to do it. Don't be going in there with a bathing suit. Like
Oh,
that's
you're a grease ball. You're a grease ball if you go in the bathing suit.
like you're an adult.
Yeah, show some respect.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think, just bettering myself, getting better every day.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
I'm pers-
graduating soon for the second
yeah,
time. Uh, I'm so over school, man. Like I can't stand it.
yeah.
Uh,
I don't blame you, man.
I'm so done doing assignments. I've been doing them since 2018.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
awful.
Well,
Uh,
you've been doing it for your whole life, but like these assignments, yeah, I know what you mean. School, university, college assignments stuff.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. The workload in college was way more than university. I don't know if
Mm,
it's just the program I was in, but it was
yeah, yeah. No.
all right. We're gonna go into the QMJHL team of the week. Shout out to Joseph. Well, we call him Joey
Hmm.
Henneberry. 8 points, 3 games, 7 points in his first game as a Tigra against his former team. Like player of the week. Come on,
Hmm.
no stopping Joey.
No, you can't. We've been showing him off on the Instagram. I bet he loves it too.
He does, man.
He's grinning.
He
He's
DMs back.
grinning when he looks at it.
Oh yeah, he DMs back and he's like, "That's right, that's right." He knows
I-
he's hot shit right now.
yeah, oh yeah.
His teammate Max Pellerin, 9 assists in 3 games. He got 7 assists in that game against Bathurst. Alexander Gaudio, Mathis Gauthier, Jeremy Langlaw, and Quentin Miller also on that list. Congrats to you guys. We're also going to take a look at the World Juniors. So this is our first episode since before the World Juniors. Taking a look at it. I'm just going to read off the final Q player stats, but also shout out to Nick Svanenko on Latvia, Baie-Comeau, Maverick Lamoureux, friend of the show, Drummondville in Canada. They got named to the top 3 players on their teams, which is a huge honor at the World Juniors, obviously. And Jonas Tybell was also named to the Swiss one, but he's no longer in the queue. Former Moncton Wildcat, though.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Final Q player stats for the World Juniors. Czechia, man. Belovsky from Baie-Comeau. 1 goal, 10 assists. Like he was second in the tournament in points. Thomas Sabolka, 2 goals. Jacob Hugier, he had no points, but who's counting?
Yeah, who's counting anyway?
Who's counting? Peter Repchik for Slovakia had 6 points. Leberu with 3 points. Jordan Dume with 2 points. Jake Furlong with a point. 1 goal, actually. Noah Warren, no points. Mathis Rousseau, he played all the games for Canada. 3-2-0, 2.0 goals against average, 912 save percentage. Very good. Very, he's
Yeah,
okay. He's an okay goalie.
Yeah, no, though those games he really showed Canada like it's my time to shine in that tournament. Obviously, like reporters and people being a little rattled about that Czechia game probably wanted those 2 goals back in the first period, but man, he played insane. Like I definitely wasn't expecting that. Like obviously what I see at Moose's games, he's terrific, but just in that big stage of him in between the pipes, that was awesome to see. So congrats to Rousseau. That's pretty
For the
sick.
for the Swiss, Ty Bell had 4 points, or 5 points rather. Miles Mueller of Moncton, 2 points. Leo Briard, he plays for Lethbridge now, but he used to play for Shawinigan, 1 goal. Latvia, Petrus Bulans of Chicoutimi, 2 points. Eric Smateko of the Sea Dogs, 1 point. Nick Svanenko, 1 point. Axel's Ozils, these stats aren't going to sound good, but he he came in relief, so that's not really fair. 0-1, 11.15 goals against average, 700 save percentage. But they base that on periods, right? So it's that's why it sounds so up there.
Just ask the stat of how many girls he's pumping in Sweden. That's a better stat than that.
Now I got to rate this episode R, man.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, you can edit that
out. Germany, Julius Sumpf of Moncton, 3 points. And Norwin Panoka, 1 goal for Germany. He plays for Chicoutimi. We also had the trade period. Is there anything you want to touch on the trade period?
The trade, I just want to say, Jans Brynar, man, he's been cooking up with the Mooseheads, man. Obviously Rimouski probably wanted to do a little better, but I think this is a little good step in the right direction for the Mooseheads and for him. He has 3 points right now, but that was a big one I noticed. But there's obviously a lot more.
I'm gonna come out and say this, and I might get flamed. I might get backfired. Mooseheads will not make the top 4.
Yeah, I have that in my notes. Not saying that, but they're slipping, man. They're slipping.
I marked this episode. Mooseheads will not make the top 4.
Yeah, there you go.
I went over the trade period. Who would you say are the top 4 teams?
Well, I would say
who's the 4 powerhouses?
Well, I'm still saying Mooseheads. I know they've been slipping, but I'm still gonna go Baie-Comeau, Mooseheads, Wildcats. But Wildcats and Mooseheads have 40 points right now, and 43 points. Sorry, I think right or something like that.
They're tied for first with 40.
And Mooseheads are just behind them, and they have more games played right now. So I don't know. The last one, that's a hard one, but I'm gonna go. I said Moncton already. I'm gonna go. Let's go Victoriaville. I'm going there. The second half of the season, they're gonna be really stepping up with all the guys they picked up and draft picks too for next year. But they're gonna be stepping up this season. Second half.
Top 4: Drummondville, Rouyn-Noranda, Baie-Comeau. I had a 4th one. Rouyn-Noranda, Drummondville, Baie-Comeau, Victoriaville.
Yeah.
I don't think the Mooseheads will make the final 4.
Okay.
I really don't. Listen, so you look at Baie-Comeau, one of my teams. They picked up Angus Booth, Kings prospect. They got Charles Edward Gravel, solidified in goal. That was their only question mark going into the trade period. And they got Donovan Arsenault from Bathurst. Right?
Yeah,
so there you go.
He's a big body.
They're solidified. Yeah. They were the best team already, and they picked up one of the best defensemen in the league, possibly the best goalie in the league, and Donovan Arsenault, who can easily be on that second line. Okay, then you got Drummondville. They got Alexis Gendron for a first or something like that. Yeah. Noah Reinhart, Kasim Gaudet, who won Mem Cup last year.
Mm-hmm.
All they got rid of pretty much was Tyler Peddle.
Yeah.
They also got Komarov and Houchette way before the trade period, right? So that's their big moves. Rouyn-Noranda, they picked up Ty Higgins, one of the best D on the trade market.
Yeah.
Samuel Savoie, now it's a question mark if he's going to play.
Yeah.
they must be pretty confident because they gave up a first, second, third, fourth, and 2/5.
Yeah, that's a big one too.
Right. So if Savoie comes back, look out.
Yeah, Samuel Savoie, man, that guy is nasty too.
And then Victoriaville, Joey Henneberry, who's 4th in the league in goals, Alexis Bork, who was lighting it up for Blainville, and Tristan Leno. If Tristan Leno comes back from Anaheim, they only gave up a 5th for him, right? They're a contender.
Yeah.
Yes, the Mooseheads trade was fine with Shawinigan. Lou Felix Denis, almost point per game. Jan Sprinar's having a down year.
Pete Reynolds.
Pete Reynolds is good, friend of the show, right? I like those moves, but I think the teams that are above them did more.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
And depth was a question on the Mooseheads in the first place with the forwards. Now, Lou Levesque's coming back tonight. Well, it'll be yesterday for you guys listening. Jordan Dumais out till second or third round. People forget that.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll make the Final Four. My Final Four is Rouen, Drummondville, Victoriaville, and Baie-Comeau.
Yeah. Those are good pieces, man. Like the Q's so hard to tell with what's coming in the future, but those are powerhouses. All those guys in Mooseheads, I don't know, they might be trickling behind.
I didn't have Victoriaville in the finals before this. If Leno comes back, they're in the finals, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If Savoie comes back, Rouen Noranda will get hot. Can we also talk about the fact that Bathurst or Joey? I love Joey. Okay, Joey. No hate on Joey. Ty Higgins. Bathurst managed to get 3 firsts, 2 seconds. Will Reynolds, who's an 07 or an 06, and Matthew St. Onge for those 2 players.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Joey's an 04, and Ty Higgins is an 03.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's a haul.
Yeah.
And again, I love Joey. And Ty Higgins is great, but that is a lot of assets for those 2 players.
Yeah. That's again, like you wouldn't see that any other, maybe other leagues in the CHL, but that's just like, that's a whole package. Like, cause it's the Q, they could be good again next year, but just with those draft picks, like, you know what I mean? It's so hard to tell with that, but yeah, that's that's hefty for sure. Joey's probably looking at it and be like, holy shit, I deserve this. But hey, he's been playing awesome after that. And
I might text him and ask, like,
yeah, what was your reaction to all that? Holy, it's a grocery list. He's like, holy, it's looking way
right
down.
now. Text him, say,
I'll text him.
Package was too much.
Yeah, I'm on it. Breaking news: Theo texts Joey mid-pod, asking if he deserves all that. No, I will.
Joey, do you think you're worth a first and some second? I think it was 2 firsts for Joey, and Higgins got the one first.
Keep going, I'll check.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go into game recaps while you're doing that. Tuesday, January 9th, 1 game. Rouen Noranda beats Val-d'Or 6-5 in a shootout. Louis-Philippe Fontaine, lone goal in the shootout, spoiled the Val-d'Or comeback. Jeremy Langlois, Thomas Verdon, Daniil Borash, Andre Loshko, and Antonin Verreau had the goals. William Blackburn, 56 saves, man. 56 saves in a 6-5 game.
That's awesome.
Nathan Barry scored twice. Nathan Drapeau and Antoine Legacy with singles. Nathan Bolduc chipped in his first of the season. Val-d'Or scored twice in the last 10 minutes to tie it up, but they fell short. Not a bad performance against one of the best teams in the league for Val-d'Or. Wednesday, January 10th, you've got just 1 game again. Gatineau beating Blainville 5-4. Jeremy Minville won it in overtime with his 25th of the year. Are you surprised he didn't get traded, Theo?
Yeah, because about the age too, you gotta think like he's at 03, 04.
He's an 04. Like they're a seller.
Yeah, they could be a seller, and I don't know. They must have been. I don't know. They didn't really have anything up their sleeve, so that could have been. You know what I mean? So hey.
Well, you already traded Savoie. You already traded Gendron. You already traded Leno. Why not trade Minville? Right? Why not get all the assets you can?
Just and plus they would get way more draft picks with that, and I don't know, but hey.
Like Minville would have been worth at least a first, 19-year-olds are expensive.
Yeah, at least a second, but definitely, he deserves a first.
Jacob Kane, Alex Gaudio, Mathis Gauthier, Felix Ouellette scored the goals in regulation. Mathis Cloutier scored his first as an Armada. He signed as a 20-year-old. He had 32 points in 56 games between Shawinigan and Val-d'Or last year. Matteo Nobert, Tommy Montreux, and Matt Gosselin scored for the Armada as well. Get this. So Cape Breton shut out Quebec 7-0. Nick Rucha made 25 saves for the Goose Egg. With the shutout, the Eagles set a franchise record for shutouts in a season with 7.
That's not bad.
That deserves a clap.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
Yeah, bear with me. I can't really pop up this Joey Hannaberry requirements here, but here, I got it.
Like what he was traded for?
Yeah. So for 2 first-round picks,
right?
a second, and Matthew St. Ange for Joey Hannaberry.
And St. Ange is an 05.
Yes.
Pull up St. Ange stats for a sec while I'm talking through this one. So
All right.
Rucha had 4 shutouts while Malota had 3. Olivier Hood and Luke Patterson scored twice. Connor Shortle and Charles Antoine Lavalley with singles. Friend of the show, Cam McDonald, got a goal as well. Shout out Cam. And New Jersey pick Cam Squires. He had 4 apples. How are you?
That's not bad.
Vincent Filion was pulled after allowing 7 goals on 29 shots. Louis Antoine Deneau made 8 saves in relief.
All right. So Matthew St. Ange had 5 points with the Victoria Tigers in 32 games.
He's a forward?
He's a
defenseman.
He's a center. He's a center.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? He'll probably get a lot more opportunity in Bathurst.
Yeah.
He was probably buried on that team. Like
he had
Alan Pellerin, Cormier, Prishchapov, Guryanov. He was probably buried. Like he'll get a lot more minutes. He'll probably even be power play in Bathurst.
Yeah, he has 2 points already in 3 games with the T10.
So there you go. So that's still good value for Bathurst.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Did you text Joey?
Yeah. He didn't answer yet.
I want to hear his reaction.
He didn't answer yet. I hope we get a response in the pod, but
I gotta send him the hat too.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so Victoriaville doubles up Charlottetown 6-3. Justin LaRose, Justin Gendron, Igor Goryanov, Sidney Delorier, who came over from Moncton, Nikita Prishchapov, in front of the show, Joey Hannaberry scored as well. Since joining Victo, Joey has 9 points in 4 games.
Let's do a clap.
How you doing?
We already did clap. We're stroking Joey off right now.
How you doing, Joey? Cole Hucken, Simon Hughes, and Alexis Michaud scored for the Isles. Hey, listen, we just want our guys to do well.
No, I know. We need the Q review bump. Gets us more content for sure and more views, and that's all we need.
So Quentin Miller got traded to Rimouski from Quebec for Vincent Filion and a first. Didn't take long to get settled in as he got his first shutout in his 4th game and a 4-0 win. 20 saves for Quentin Miller, Habs prospect. Since coming from the Ramparts, .913 save percentage. That just goes to show if you can play on a good team, your save percentage is going to be a lot better. Rimouski got goals from Maxime Corseau, Spencer Gill, Miles St. Denis, and Jacob Matthew. Patrick Lever, 40 saves in the loss for the Dogs. And Friday, this was a barn burner. 8-7 Victoriaville over Acadie Bathurst. Noah Warren won it in overtime. 7 points for Joey Hannaberry. Career high. Tied a career high in assists for a game and topped his goal and points in a game record. Tommy Cormier scored twice while Igor Goryanov got the single. Joey tied the game with 1:38 to play. Wow, that's got to silence the crowd.
Yeah, for
Bobby
sure.
Orr scored a hat trick. Not the Bobby Orr you guys are thinking of. We're talking Bobby Orr Jr. His parents. Why?
I think it's awesome. I don't know about you, but
let's get him on the show. I want to know his actual opinion about his name.
Hey, what do you name your kid? Bobby. Oh, there you go. That's just electric, I think.
Yannick Ponzetto, former Moosehead, scored his first as a T10. Matt McRae, Emile Perron, and Alexandre Lallier scored the singles for Bathurst. Rimouski beat Charlottetown 6-5. Alexander Blais scored his second hat trick of the season. Jacob Matthew scored twice. Dominic Pilot with the single. Alexis Michaud, Ross Campbell, Anthony Flanagan, Simon Hughes, and Cole Hucken scored for the Isles. 3-2 win for Drummondville over Blainville. Alexis Gendron, second of the game, broke the tie 7 minutes into the third, and Willie Dumont scored the other. Tommy Montreux and Justin Carbonneau scored for the Armada. Edward Gauthier, 41 saves in the loss. Gatineau beats Val-d'Or 4-1. Alexander Gaudio scored twice against his former team, finished with 3 points. Justin Boissel scored twice as well. Kean Hodges made 22 saves, and the only goal for the Forers, trend this season, Connor Macy with the only goal. Val-d'Or, they don't score very much.
No, but
They're
hey,
really missing Justin Robida.
but now that I think they will now. They're good. That's why, and they probably noticed that. The coaches probably noticed they've been having a scoring slump all season. Maybe getting Hedberry and yeah, when he comes back, Robida. What?
Oh no, not Victo, Val-d'Or.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Victo. Sorry,
No.
I'm lost in the sauce here.
Yeah,
But yeah, but I do agree.
play for Val-d'Or.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know that. But Robida, how long's?
Come on, you deserve that. You deserve that.
I wish I had this thing in front of me, man. You're so lucky. But when's Robida coming back?
I don't think he's playing pro. I'm saying they're missing Justin Robida.
Jesus, that's another bump.
Yeah. Sherbrooke beat Shawinigan 5-3. Christophe Rondeau, Israel Menanscom, Andrew Belchamber, Hugo Primo, and Charles-Antoine Beauregard scored for the Phoenix. Rondeau's first of the season. Get that monkey off your back. That's like one of my favorite sellies.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
Yeah. Boom. See you later.
See you later. Gary Klima, Jacob Lachance, and Vince Ellie scored for the Cataracts. Vince Ellie was a good pickup by Shawinigan. I watched him live play for the Sea Dogs, and he was very quick. Great player.
He was on the top line too, wasn't he?
With the Dogs?
Yeah, with the Dogs.
Yeah, I think he was playing with Pete. Maybe Mexico. Rwanda beat Chicoutimi 5-4 via the shootout. Andre Lashko, shootout winner against his former team in a 6-round shootout. Axel Dufresne also scored in the shootout. Ty Higgins, new Husky, scored his first goal since coming over from Bathurst. Antonin Verreau, Francois James Bouteau, and Louis Philippe Fontaine scored the others. Emile Guette scored in the shootout. Jeremy Leroux scored twice in regulation. Loic Ursereau and Maxime Massé with the singles. That will do it for my game recaps. And Theo, we have a special guest coming on.
There we go. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so we got Dalhousie Tigers captain Derek Gentile. He had a great interview. You guys would have seen the reels. Talked about fighting in the queue, how he's kind of scared for the future of the queue with head injuries and things like that. Told me all about his trip to Italy with his carb diet. He talked about the fact that, like, as a smaller player, like, he really appreciated enforcers being around. So a great overall listen. Derek, great guy, Cape Breton guy, loves to talk. Also told me that if you want to get a hold of Keith Getson, call his wife. Keith doesn't answer his phone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story after, but nonetheless, please welcome Dalhousie Tigers captain and Q alumni, Derek Gentile. All right, guys, new guests on the podcast, former Quebec Rampart, Charlottetown Islander, and Cape Breton Eagle. Welcome Derek Gentile, plays for the Dalhousie Tigers today. Welcome to the show, Derek, as the crowd applauds.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It should be fun.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, before we got going, we were trying to book this interview up. You headed to Italy for a little trip. Talk a little bit about that.
You know what? I was actually in the UK. So I mean, that goes to show you that the amount of trouble we had booking this interview in. So I went to the UK. The main purpose of the trip was to visit a former Eagle, former Islander himself, Mitchell Balmas, who was a really good friend of mine. He's playing for the Sheffield Steelers in that EIHL. So myself and another buddy, we went over there and actually kind of did a loop meeting a few players along the way. We saw Tyler Hynam. We met him in Manchester. Kind of showed us around where they're at. What a nice spot too that he's in. Beautiful. We went to Sheffield. We actually saw a Premier League game in between, but spent a few days in Sheffield visiting Balmer, and what a rink. The fans and the performances, I was in shock, really. It was like a full-blown event. It was one of the like best put on hockey events I've seen outside of the NHL. It was there was 2,000 fans there like 90 minutes before the game. It was like something I've never seen. Saw Carter Allen, a guy I played with in South Carolina. He's played in Coventry. Jesse Sutton's another guy in that league that was he's in the neighborhood. Good buddy of mine. Played with me in the Ramparts. Great guy. He plays in the NIHL. I think it's the feeder league to that league, to the EI. So kind of bounced around there, and then did a day or two in Dublin, and we flew back to Canada.
Yeah. So talk I mean, everyone loves European rinks. Like everyone talks about them all the time. You see them on Instagram, TikTok. Like just describe that atmosphere. Like what was it like?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the first thing I'll say, it was so strange, and I can't say for certain, but from the higher level, it looked like as if it was like a NHL length Olympic width. So it made for a really weird game. Like it's almost like wingers had more time, but the D were still getting hit because the wingers were still on top of them. But the extra depth or the extra width for the wingers, there was tons of more action going on. But the actual rink itself, it kind of was built like an amphitheater. It was like a 3/4 bowl. So it was like built like a concert venue, about 10,000 seats, but state of the art. There was like anything you could think of that NHL rink has, like these big productions, massive like t-shirt sales, but like every person in the rink had a jersey on. It was like, I mean, looking for my buddy Balmer, there was 20, 30 Bombers jerseys. He's only been there 4 months. It was like, it was awesome. Yeah. So we were taking pictures, joking around, like sending it to our buddies. Like we still got a crew of buddies from Cape Breton that we joke around with. It was really cool. And even like something that I wasn't expecting, they had, like when the camera comes in before the game, like they do at, they show the coach talking, whatever, they were like right in there, like just like you would see in an NHL game. Fans were driving her. Like, I mean, and you see like the European soccer leagues where the fans are chanting. It was a little bit like when I was in Italy, like fans are chanting like these, and it was loud for 60 minutes. And even in the intermissions, it's loud. And I guess one thing I didn't know, and partly why a lot of the fans love it so much over there, like when you go to those Premier League games, you actually can't drink in the stands. You have to like drink when you have to physically leave your seat and drink in the like I don't know, like the what do you want to call it, the concourse. And but in the lounge, something like that. So at the hockey games, they're allowed to drink upstairs. So it's like it's a party. It was really cool.
And it must have been cool to see, Balmus is from Sydney. You're from Sydney. That must have been cool seeing a guy in the UK be a fan favorite right away.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when a guy like him, he always seems to be liked everywhere because he can put the little black puck in the net wherever he goes. So when the announcer's screaming your name, you tend to be a favorite in a hurry. But he's doing really well over there. It's I think it's a really underrated league for how like some of the players over there were like really quality. A lot of like American Hockey League alumni, East Coast Hockey League alumni, U Sports alumni. It's really underrated, and he's in the top 10 in scoring over there, so he's having a really excellent year.
Yeah, next thing I want to go into your career in Italy. You talked a little bit about it. You left Dal, you went to Italy for a bit. First question, how was the pasta? Like, I'm sure everyone's wondering that.
Oh, it was fantastic. And I would like eat, I mean, you're in Italy, you're going to eat, like I would leave practice and like, there's like little diners. I was living in just outside of a city called Bolzano. I was up the mountain. So I could take the gondola down to Bolzano, but like I would leave practice and I would hop into like these little like family restaurants, big like diners, and all homemade pastas. Like, and you could eat, it's like just everyone says, like you can eat as much of it as you want. And you just like I lost weight. I lost almost 20 pounds when I was over there. And I would still eat whatever I wanted, like pizzas and pastas, lasagnas. Like it was just phenomenal.
Just a pure carb diet. Like you gotta love it.
Yeah. They take carb loading a little excessive over there. It was really cool. Like, and it was just normal. Like guys weren't eating steaks, and I mean to a little bit we were, but the guys would leave the rink and eat a pizza, or leave the rink and eat pasta, and then that was pretty much it.
Yeah. So what was like the go-to dish? Like if you were to order pasta, you were to go to your restaurant, what's the go-to?
Like a lot of the like they'll do like the cacio pepe, like that would be the signature Italian dish. Like most restaurants I went to had that, and it was delicious. And every single one I went to, I had a couple of them in when we went down to like we popped down to Rome, me and another goaltender and a defenseman, and we did some travel when we were there, and we had one cacio pepe in Rome that was just unbelievable. But there's where I was living, there was so it was like at the top, basically where the gondola let out. Like I was like maybe 500 meters from the start of the gondola, but in between my house and the gondola, there was this little cornered restaurant, and they had fresh like homemade lasagna every day where they baked the noodles, and it was like
Oh,
I lived on it for like the better part of a few months.
man, that's good eats, man. I want to go to Italy now. That's got me sold.
Yeah.
I'm in.
There's I mean it's not exactly the hockey hub of the world, but for food and the travel, it was fantastic.
So you didn't play that much in Italy, according to Elite Prospects. It was like 8 games, but who was probably the most impressive guy you played with?
Actually, that's a good question, and I'll say there's a defenseman from Ontario that played with me there. His name's Jake Cardwell. He'd been playing in Europe for a long time. Actually, a U Sports alumni as well. I believe he played at 2 schools in Ontario. I can't remember the. You can maybe look him up. I think maybe Carleton. I can't really remember. But he had been playing in Europe for a long time, and actually spent some time in the top Czech league, which is a fantastic league, as you probably know. And he was, I mean, just one of the smartest guys I'd played with, and he was getting like to the end or like the later part of his career. He's actually playing again this year. He just came back, but so smart. And like, I mean, he's an AHL quality defenseman. I actually spent some time in the AHL, like playing with me in a mountain in Italy, which is kind of hard to believe.
Right on. You also go to South Carolina. What kind of prompted that move to go from Dal to South Carolina?
Yeah, that was really strange. It was, I mean, kind of a perfect storm. Well, I guess I'll start from the beginning. One of my later years in junior, like 18 through 19, I had a lot of illness going on. I couldn't really figure out what was going on. I had a lot of stomach trouble. So I played for the better part of 2.5 seasons at about 150 pounds and couldn't keep weight on. I was kind of fighting it. And I don't know, for whatever happened, sometime during COVID, I don't know if it was the rest or something that happened, I finally got healthy. And my first half at Dal, the first half I finally got to play, I played at about 180 pounds for the first time ever. And things just kind of felt good. And I was playing well. And again, I probably had the best half of hockey I've had. And then, as we know, COVID cancellation again, or supposed COVID cancellation. And I wasn't ready to stop playing. It's just one of those things when you get in a role. It's like I can't stop right now, and we kind of went through every avenue with U Sports. We really wanted them to like give us a date or like, can we go and come back like they had in the past? And everything was really unclear. All I knew was like I can't stop playing right now. For one, as any player knows, like when things are finally starting to go well, like you can't just you got to keep it running. So my agent was kind of like not all over me, but he was, calling me every other day with stuff, especially, those leagues were starting to really chase U Sports guys when, because they knew our season was allegedly shut down. So I had a few like those American Hockey League type, deals. I actually was going to sign a different one and play in a game in Ontario. It was a Belleville versus the Marlies or thing. No, sorry. We were playing Belleville twice and the Marlies once, and it was with Springfield. And I was going to play for Springfield, and all 3 of the games ended up getting canceled. So I was sitting there with my I said I still didn't really know what to do. Like I was just wanting to play. Still no indication, and a few of the two-way deals I'd gotten didn't really give me a good feeling, and I had some good chats with the Hershey GM, and I ended up not getting called up at all. But I knew if I never was up with the big club, then I would be, in South Carolina, in a nice place, living in Charleston, I've had like good things about the city, the program. I knew, like at the very least, I'd be in the sunshine and golfing. Like if hockey wasn't going well, so I took the leap of faith and went for it.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that because I'm from the Wolfville area. So I was watching Acadia. Went to school with a few of the guys. Logan Fladell, he got called up to that team after that season. Bo Coella. I remember TJ Fergus left. Hynum left too. I feel like that was a big trend for a lot of those U Sports guys. They didn't really know what was going on. U Sports didn't give them much to work with. And so they just took the deal that, felt good to them. And yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It did. It happened, and I think over 100 players left U Sports.
Oh, I remember it
It's
happened
actually
so
like,
quick.
yeah, and this because the year before, what they did is anybody who was in pro, they basically it was just a wash. So I know there's a few guys that jumped into our league that they could just come right back in, which was the right decision for sure. Like guys didn't have anywhere to play. U Sports wasn't playing. It was a good decision by them, to let guys back in. But there was no consistency for the next year. And even when I remember at the time, we were hoping that if the season came back, we'd be able to come back again. So, the season gets called back in February. Like, okay, give the guys the choice to come back, and we weren't able to do that. So it was pretty frustrating, and it's been a long process to get to that. But a lot of guys ended up in that situation. Kerwin was another one. I mean, he ended up playing with me in South Carolina. Balmus left at that time. I was speaking of him. I can't remember the captain at Acadia left. Bolin left. Like there was a whole crew of guys that just they want to keep playing.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to your Q days. So you're drafted by Quebec, 4th round, I believe. Patrick Waugh wasn't there at the time. However, you must have some story brewing from around that rink.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, that was a wild time. It's almost so long ago. It feels like a dream that I was in Quebec. Like, but I mean, our season. So my first year was the first year with that brand new rink, and I mean, 18,000 seats. I think we sold out 7 times, and we were the worst team in the league. But I mean, tons and tons of great stories. And actually, I had no intentions of staying in Quebec. It was actually a really funny story when I went because I played at Ross and Netherwood School, and I had intentions of playing, university, college hockey. Like I was always very dedicated academically, and that was kind of my focus. And hence I ended up getting picked up a little bit later in the Q draft than at that time. Then I think I can't remember what the rankings were, but anyway, so ended up going a little later than anticipated. And I went up to I went up to Quebec with my dad. And we were going on the 48 hours. We were staying in a hotel. We weren't getting anything paid for. First day of camp. It's going to be one of my 2 practices. And they put a contract in front of me after the first practice. So, and it's all of a sudden me and my dad are sitting there in my hotel room in Quebec City. We don't know what to do. My agents around. We're trying to make decisions on the fly, and we only got 24 hours to decide something. We've got the car packed, visits lined up to go look at U.S. colleges, and a wrench was thrown and everything. Anyway, end up signing, but yeah, we definitely have some funny stories, and I'll give you a small one first that just kind of reminded me. So Jesse Sutton, the guy I brought up earlier, he's a Newfoundlander, but really, really nice guy. He doesn't drink, doesn't I don't know, just never drank. But I always remember when we would go and maybe go to like a party, or the odd time we got to do something. And he didn't drink, he never did anything. So he always had perfect recollection of everything that always ever happened. He was just like constantly watching. So I remember so it's like Monday morning every week, or every time we went out, everyone would be like huddled around his stall, and he'd just be like telling jokes, like flaring it off, because like we always knew Suts like knew everything, had like a perfect recap of like everything that happened in the last 24 hours. It was awesome. And who better than a Newfoundlander to tell it?
He's bringing up the stuff that you want to forget.
yeah. And of course we were always well behaved, but he was good to remind us of the past events.
There's always that one friend that like they're a little more recollected than everyone else, and they're bringing up how stupid you were the night before, and that's tough. That's a
Yeah,
tough go.
yeah, it's cool, and I mean, Suts he's an awesome guy. So I think you'll if you had more guys on, you'd hear some good stories about Sutsy.
What was it like playing in that Videotron Center?
You know what? It was so well built that you could like when you're on the ice, you could hardly hear the crowd unless it was like 18,000 people full. Like you could have a conversation like you and I at the dot with 15,000 people in the rink. It was so bizarre. Like just
Wow.
I don't know how they did that, but it was so strange. They built obviously they built it for the Nordiques, but so we were in the NHL away dressing room. The Ramparts dressing room still is the NHL away dressing room, but they have the full NHL dressing room built and ready and behind, like equipped with swimming pools, hot tubs, ping pong tables, the whole stuff sitting there waiting for the Nordiques that we couldn't get access to. So, and I mean, our dressing room was still state of the art. It was like we had like a full change room, physio rooms, like full blown equipment rooms, cold tub room, like showers and like our own stalls, like bunch of sinks, school room, like fully equipped gym. It was crazy, and that was just the away. Like, I can't even imagine what the full look of the Nordiques room was like.
So no one was occupying that Nordique spot. There was no one in there. It was just this empty NHL caliber facility.
Just sitting there, and I bet you it still is. Like, I mean, some of it was partially unfinished, like where the swimming pool and stuff was. Like, the odd time we could like walk through there to like do like a PR thing, but yeah, it was just NHL caliber. Just they're just waiting. I mean, those fans are so passionate though. Like every day after practice, I mean games for sure, but there'd be people there waiting for autographs and like they'd have pictures, like hockey cards, like every single day, which is, I mean, I don't understand this, and I don't pretend to know the economics of who decides what gets an NHL team, but those fans love it. And as long as there's no NHL team, then like that Ramparts team will have 10,000 plus, especially in that Videotron rink.
So you give me a timeline. You obviously think that hockey's going to come back to Quebec by the sounds of it. How soon do you think we're going to see it? If you had to guess.
That's a good question. I mean, yeah, like that's so hard. I would say it's just with the Ramparts being so successful, they're like they're the model of the CHL, and I don't know if the NHL is ready to give away that premier development program they have there, and and then that could be speculation or a bit of a conspiracy, but I think that they're the pinnacle of junior hockey, along with the Mooseheads, the Knights. There's a few teams, but that kind of showcase and that upholds and sets a standard for junior hockey that really feeds a ton of the NHL. I mean, I know it's getting more diverse, but the CHL still is the premier development league for the NHL, and I think that might slow them back. Maybe someday they'll get over that, but I'll say 20 years just for the sake of a guess, but I have no idea. Yeah.
So you get traded to Charlottetown for what I believe was either Gregor McLeod or I know there was two separate trades for you and Askew. You guys went on a playoff run to the third round, lost to Blainville, was it? I believe 2018.
Yeah. Can you say that? Sorry, you cut up for 1 second there.
No, you're good. So 2018, you guys go on a playoff run where you lost in the third round to Blainville, I believe. Did you guys expect to go on that run? Because I looked up at the stats and I didn't see, nothing stood out. No offense to anyone that played there that year, but nothing stood out in my opinion.
Well, it's funny. So that team was, I mean, it was built on an underdog story. And when we first kind of all got together, when I first got there, I joined at Christmas time of that year. And I was actually, before Askew got there, I was the only right-handed forward. And it was kind of a weird little mix of a team. But, and we had a pretty fun, like we had a group of guys that really liked one another, and we would, always spent time. We'd be hanging out at the rink, away from the rink, and we just genuinely liked one another. But it's funny when we look back now after that long successful run. There's a lot of guys that ended up being pretty successful for. At the time they were, we're underdogs. Like Alexandrov hadn't been realized yet. Budgel hadn't been realized yet. Like PO ended up being a first rounder. Hunter Drew was a good defenseman. Welshie was, has a great career. Like there's a crew of guys, like even Saku Vesterainen, what a player he was. There's a whole crew of guys that, were at the time unknown to the world. And it kind of gave us that underdog type feel, and we were mean and tough, but just, as the years progressed, and actually even as that year progressed, a lot of those players ended up kind of developing a name for somebody good. There's just nobody knew it yet.
Yeah, so you said it was like a team of characters. Like you had lots of great guys on the team. Who was like the biggest character on that team? It looks like there's a few, like Getson on there. You got
yeah. Getsy's a great guy. And Getsy's, I can't say enough good things about Getsy. And to try and get a hold of Getsy like by phone is, good luck. It's a mission. Like anybody that needs Getsy knows that you call his wife. That's just Getsy might as well have a flip phone. Like he does not use his phone. So and his wife is one of the nicest humans alive. So God bless her, because she picks up the phone for both of them. But he was a steady Nova Scotian. Characters. Hunter Drew was. He's one of my best friends in the world, and he's a character. He's fine. Nice as they come. And you'll probably hear this about a lot of fighters, but one of the nicest guys in the world. But as soon as something on the ice happens, it's like a switch goes off. It's like, whoa, where did that come from?
yeah.
PO
season. That'll do it.
That'll do it. Like PO was our captain that year, and he was only 18. But funny, like he was always joking around, kept it pretty light. I can kind of go through that team. Like I feel like it happens with teams that are successful and teams that like one another. There ends up being like 10, 12, 14 guys that are all like, they're good dudes. Like they're just, they're good people. So I could probably go on and talk about each guy on that team. And hence you see teams that get to the finals, especially the teams that overperformed. I'd say that's a pretty common theme.
Yeah, no, I was shocked that team. No offense, I was shocked that team was in the third round. Getza was your highest point getter, 49 points. You were actually second on the team in playoff scoring that year. So, yeah, just one of those like almost Columbus Blue Jacket vibes. Like seemed like a gritty team that just made their way to the conference final.
Yeah, and it was fun. Like it kind of all took off. Like Budgel and I showed up at Christmas. Askew showed up at Christmas. Then that made up 3 of your top 6. So it kind of changes the water on the beans in a hurry. And I think, a lot of people thought we were, not going to be there. That wasn't an uncommon opinion. And they're coached so well every year. It's no secret that, they know how to coach a hockey team, and Jim Holton knows how to make a hockey player over there. So every year they're just coached so well. And from start to finish, from September to April, that team is catching up, because they're just coached so well. And even I learned a lot about being a player and being a man from Jim. And I can remember, like, I came in and I can't remember. I was still scoring pretty well. Like I think I was close to a point a game that year, like 60 and 60 maybe. I don't know. But I thought that was enough. And Jim quickly taught me that there's much more to hockey, much more to life than just scoring a point a game on the weekend. And I actually don't think I would have been a captain in my later years either, in Cape Breton, at Dal, if I hadn't kind of gone through that experience. And it's, easy to say that, like, and Jim wasn't my favorite coach in the world. Like, but it was one of those things that a lot of guys need that. And I think that's a big part of why you see like those 9th place teams in Charlottetown that always find a way to kind of like, weasel their way through into another semifinal. It's just, they got Bill Belichick at the helm.
So you say he wasn't your favorite coach. Like, how come? Like, did he skate you? Did he just like what was the?
Well, I think it's probably just because I wasn't ready. Like it was a more of a me thing than a him thing. It was, I was 18 and wasn't mature as I needed to be. And he was kind of the guy that had to set me on the course. I say mature, like mature at the rink, like mature in my game. Like he was kind of the guy that had to set me on the right course. And that's never a fun part of your career. And it's never fun in the moment because you don't really realize what they're doing for you at the time. But I think now if I played for Jim today, I think he'd probably be my favorite coach ever. But at the time, he was the guy that kind of had to help me out. And I mean, he does that for a lot of players. I mean, you see, there's been tons of guys that have come out of Charlottetown now that are playing at a pretty high pro level.
Yeah, absolutely. Another rung you went on was the 2020 COVID year. Shut it down. Cape Breton, Sokolov, Francis, you, Baker, who you play with now in Dow. Heinem was there. Ivan. Like, talk about that team. Like, there was potential. You guys were going to win the chip.
Oh yeah, and I think we all thought that, and I think the community thought it too. But that's the best team I've ever been on, and it's not close. And talk about guys like one other. We were tight, and we were an older group, mostly 19 and 20-year-olds, and we really liked one another, and we were good. Like Element is another guy that was so good. Like Iggy was so good. Like that defense crew we had. Havlina was another underdog. Like Mandalese had the best goalie numbers in the league, and like we're not only were we talented and we were good, it was like we were mean and angry, and it was no fun to play in Cape Breton. You had to drive down to the island for us to, run you out of the rink. It was kind of a perfect storm. And I think that would have been the year. I really do. That Moncton team was pretty, they were capable too with like Hovanov or I can never say his name right. I don't want to say it too wrong, but he was a hell of a player. Havanoff, yeah, he was unbelievable. And Spence and Rodrigue was a net there. So we had some competition, but I can't see us not walking away with that. Like there's too many guys having career years. We were too deep. Our third line that year, like I was playing on the third line with Heinem and Sean Elmond. It's just like it was something else to be a part of. It actually, cool thing. It was something to see, like when we would practice, there'd be 40, 50 people there watching practice because it looked like a pro practice. Guys be snapping the puck around. We used to do this drill where in Grimes, it was one of his favorites, where essentially there was 4 or 5, 6 sets of like 40, 50, 60-foot passes in a row. And it just was like when you got a team that can do that and are big and mean, it's hard to lose. And hence we didn't do it a whole lot.
Yeah. Sokolov, what was he like?
Iggy is a fantastic guy. Like one of the he's a Cape Brettoner really now. Like he loves it. He's actually getting married, Iggy. Settling down. He's getting married this summer in Toronto. He is just like a bubbly, like everything you'd think from from afar. Probably like it's probably true in terms of like the interview, how he's just like laughing all the time and joking. Like he was just, for such a good player and for somebody that took his body and the game so seriously, he was just like always messing around, like just a really good guy. And I think he's kind of been adopted as, a Cape Brettoner now. Like, people always ask him like when he's coming home. Like it's like when he coming home to Cape Breton. Like we see him, like he spent many nights at my kitchen table, like just really, really a genuine dude. And he's one of those guys, like, I don't know how he's not a full-timer in the NHL yet. Like he's just, you see some of the things he can do. It's just, if that guy doesn't make it full-time, I don't know who makes it.
So you get traded to Cape Breton for Noah Lowen from Charlottetown. What was that like? You're a Sydney guy. Like, what was that like coming home?
It was pretty cool. And, and you probably see it all the time. Like and maybe it's gotten better, but it was always released to the media that guys would get traded before the teams had a chance to tell them. It was constant. Like it was always on Twitter, and I'm sure it's still the same. Yeah,
Yeah, the trade deadline this year, you saw a lot of trades through Twitter before you
yeah,
would get. Yeah.
yeah. Before the players even know. So when I got traded to Cape Breton, I was in the airport flying back. We had just played the Moosehead, so I stayed overnight in Halifax instead of going back to be out with the team. I flew from Halifax to Sydney, but I was about to hop on my flight, and Bomber called me because he was playing in Cape Breton at the time. Another guy from Sydney. He's like, Gents, you just got traded to Cape Breton. I'm like, no, I didn't, Bomber. Like, come on. Like, because it was pretty much a done deal. It was all over. Like, every RDS and like Law on set, everyone like said Joseph and I were going to Baie-Comeau. I was just kind of waiting for it to happen. Anyway, I'm like, Bomber, no, I'm not. And as I'm like hanging up on him, Jim Holton was calling me, and sure enough, Cape Breton. But it was so cool, and that was really good of him to place me in a spot where I'd be happy and successful. But it's hard to replicate playing in your hometown with any other feeling. It was kind of cool to see because it was not just me, and I'm sure you've had this before, but it kind of became like a thing for everybody that I grew up around. It was like a whole community. So it was like, I mean, it was almost like everyone was playing in their hometown. It was cool. I got to spend a lot of time at with kids and family, and it was like a revolving door, my front door, where we're so connected in the community that it's like every 45 minutes, like someone was showing up at the host with a jersey or stick, or so it was cool. Like I'm really appreciative for the time I got to spend. It's too bad we didn't get the playoff run, but it was pretty cool.
Did you say you almost went to Baie-Comeau with PO?
Yeah. So that was the rumor. Yeah. And I just remember Robbie Burt, like I was stretching in the red line. So we played St. John and then Halifax. And I remember him like leaning over to me because I didn't want to go play in Baie-Comeau. I'd rather stay in the Maritimes, especially like with a better contender. And I remember him like leaning over like the red line to me. It's like, it's like, can you please go to Baie-Comeau? He's like, if you don't go, I think I have to. And I so, yeah, I remember like because that's how strong the rumors were, and like those rumors in the queue are like often true. Like like how often they predict, and I don't know. Like we always said, like someone from the inside that like helps with the processing of the transaction has to be connected somewhere, is feeding something outside, whether it's intentional or not. But they know everything. So you see a rumor, guys take it as almost the truth.
Right. Who was supposed to go back for you and PO?
Oh, I have no idea. That's at that time. I don't. It must have been a few younger guys. Like I can't even imagine. Like for like 19-year-olds are so expensive, right? Like it's
100%.
at that time. Like PO is worth at least a few first, maybe more. Like it had to have been a ton. And honestly, it might have been futures like flip back the year after. They probably couldn't afford it that year. Like
Right.
I can't. Yeah, would have been a cool one. Like it might have been. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a long time.
I never heard of that rumor ever. That's news to me. Ever.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you didn't, because that must have been. It wasn't too strong, so I was already sitting to Cape Breton, which I was super happy with.
Yeah, obviously. So you go to Dal. What made you pick Dal?
Well, it started with Grimes and Cape Breton. So Grimes, he's from Dartmouth and just an awesome, awesome guy. Like one of my like favorite coaches for sure. Like a mentor of sorts, right? When I was his captain that year, and he had known Dons very well from being in the community, being in Halifax. And early on in the season, when Dons was doing his recruiting, he reached out to Grimesy and asked if we'd meet with him. And in full honesty, that I wasn't really ready to meet with university teams. I was just kind of riding it out, and I had some pro aspirations. I wasn't sure, and I took the meeting first, and that was my first meeting because Grimesy had asked me to. He just simply said, "Dons is a fantastic guy. I know he'd treat you well. I know it's early in the season, but it might be better to get dealt with now." So I took the meeting just because of Grimesy, and Met with him, Donzie, once actually after a Mooseheads game. Kind of like, I mean, Don's like just like a nice guy, like seemed like a normal dude. So I was like, okay, yeah, like maybe I'll consider it. And I took some time, and we went to actually a supper here at the Keg with just my partner and I, and Donzie laid out the red carpet like as much as could, brought every department I needed, anybody I wanted. The staff was all there, and when I spoke to him, he was very honest about what he thought I was and what he could offer me. He was very direct. There was no smoke screen. It was like very clear. And on top of that, it was like a place where I felt that they needed a 1A player, where I had been 1B a lot for the last few years leading up to that. And I kind of wanted to be the guy that got the puck a lot. And it's fun to play with good players, but it's also, you want the puck. And I felt Dow was kind of that good mix where there was a lot of good players, but they needed that one offensive punch. And where I was in such a defensive role in Cape Breton that I kind of wanted to have that fun with the puck again. And Donzie kind of laid that out for me, and I believed him. And he delivered on every promise since. So I definitely don't regret the choice. It ended up being a good one. So I'm thankful to Grimesy for queuing me up.
Now, is there a reason you came back from Italy to play Dal again?
Yeah, so I was like in that summertime. So after I got back from South Carolina, I'd always like had intentions of wanting to play back at Dal, and I thought and genuinely thought that we were going to be able to come back again. And especially when there was no real like end in sight to them allowing us to come back. Because the fear at that time, like we didn't really know, it was like they could cancel it, bring it back, cancel, bring it back. We didn't really see an end in sight. But that summer I came back, we went through the appeal process after they said guys couldn't come back. So Don's our AD, Tim, who's excellent, and a bunch of the players on our team went through this like vigorous appeal process with U Sports to try and get me to be able to come back for last year. We got through to the actual hearing, got through it all, and it turns out they gave me nothing. And we even offered for me to sit out half a year. And they just wouldn't budge. And, I don't want to get into too much on that side because I don't want to get Tim and Don's in trouble. But so I kind of always had intentions of wanting to be back at Dal. It was just, so it didn't work out. So I when I went to Italy, I kind of went out there half-heartedly, and it was like I signed the last week of July because that's when we found out that I couldn't come back, and just signed on somewhere that it was a good enough spot. And I always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to play this year again at Dal. So when the time came and I had to make that decision, I actually left at the last possible day that I could leave so that I wouldn't miss a regular season game for the next year. So it kind of was queued up that way. And that's maybe unfair to the team in Italy, which it sucks, but that's business. And that was kind of just where my heart was, and I'm frustrated with the past, but I'm glad to be back, and glad it was fun to be able to get back in the jersey again. It was a long 2 years to get that sorted.
Well, the team missed you, so you can have that in your mind. We talked about Hunter Drew being such a high penalty minute guy. Like, he was a fighter, obviously. What are your thoughts of fighting leaving the queue?
Yeah, you know what? That I'm glad you asked, and this might be an odd opinion, but as an undersized player who, played a game a reasonably, good way, I thought, like I said, wouldn't shy away from everything, and I really worry about those types of players with hitting gone. I mean, it gets dangerous for players. When there's no repercussions for actions, and there's no self-policing. I feel like you see it more and more, these dangerous type hits, the hacks, at wrist, hitting to the head, and there's no threat, and there's no self-policing. So it scares me, and I think it's actually a regression, and I think it's actually more dangerous. And I think in return you'll see more head injuries because of it. I don't pretend to be a doctor, understanding the you know the implications of fighting, and I know it's not good, and I don't know, but I don't. You can't take the policing out of hockey. It's part of the way that we govern ourselves. It's part of the way that we keep players safe. And it's part of the reason why players like Hunter are so valuable. It's because you feel safe. Like the guys aren't going to take advantage of you. And I hope that as hockey evolves here, it doesn't cease to exist like completely. But at the very least, if it does get taken out, I hope you don't see those types of hits. But I just can't see it not happening. I mean, I know myself. Like if there's a big fighter on the other side and or the big fighter on the ice, or there's a threat of that, like I'm not going to take a run at a guy too heavy. Like I'm certainly going to finish my hits hard, like if I have one, but I'm not going to try and open ice label a guy off his his shoulders, because I know that there's Hunter on the other side ready to lay it down my throat, and as he should, right? So I worry about it. I do, and again, I don't want to pretend to be a doctor because I don't understand it, but I can't see it being good.
And I think the argument from the fighter guys is that guys that fight know how to fight. Like they're not trying to get hurt, right? They know how to fight correctly. They were trained correctly. They know what they're doing. It's not like a guy like he's going to go and fight randomly unless he knows he can maybe take them, right? So it's one of those things that I think that's what they're concerned about, people getting hurt actually fighting, but the guys that fight know how.
That's just it. Like they're pros. I mean, they're professionals. They train like pros. They've been taught like pros. And I mean, for every player that's played in the queue, that's played with fighters, played with enforcers, played with those types of guys, I haven't met many that aren't trained. And that I think that I like to think that's significantly less dangerous than the type of ugly hits that we see. It's yeah, I can, and even like when I was playing in Quebec, the Ramparts with Yannick Turcotte, one of the most infamous fighters ever to play in the queue, the toughest human being I've ever been in and around, but physically, mentally, like he was just tough. And I played that year, my first year in the queue, for the first half at 138 pounds. That would be next to impossible now without him there. And that's at a time where he fought 26, 28 times. And I attribute a lot of my ability to, stay alive in that league at 138 pounds, albeit only for half a year, to him policing and him looking after me. And I hope we don't lose that, especially for the undersized guys. Like, because, hockey's getting, a little bit lighter, but like for the guys that are my size and smaller, it's just like you need guys to help you out with that. Like it's just, there's different roles for a reason, right?
Man, he's still going. Turcotte still plays. 135 penalty junior, 188 first year in the ECHL. Man, holy smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was tough and like such a nice guy. Like just I can like actually I remember like he loved the song Heave Away, which is hilarious. Like it was like he loved coming to the Maritimes because they'd always play it at the games. He loved it. He'd always be singing it on the bench. He was awesome.
This was before the World Juniors made it a big thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was before it was cool.
He loves it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll ask you, gents. What's next for Derek Gentile after Dal? Like I think you only got 1 or 2 years left. What's next for you?
That's a really good question. I graduate actually this April. And I don't know what comes. I'm looking at taking an MBA maybe and playing a little bit more in the AOS. I don't it's so hard. I have these conversations a lot especially with some of the older guys in our team. It gets to a point it's so hard to think about not playing hockey that you get fixated on what's next for hockey. But you're getting that age. It's you either got to go and play pro somewhere or continue to take an MBA, or it's it comes to an end. And especially when you start having a life, like I've Yeah, I've got a fiance in med school here in Halifax. I got a home, and it's hard, man. That's a tough question. That might be the hardest question you asked yet. So, I,
Wow.
so I don't know. I'm hopeful that I can keep the skates on a little longer, but you never know.
All right, gents, we appreciate your time. Good luck the rest of the season with Dal.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Dal Tigers captain Derek Gentile. Gents, what a great guy, man. He's just a beauty. He really knows hockey well. Like, he's been all over the place, East Coast League, Italy. I can't believe he has a Newfoundland friend that doesn't drink.
But you don't even see that often.
That story baffled me.
Yeah.
Like, just all the guys crowding the locker room stall, just saying, what happened to me last?
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, Theo, I think you've got some game notes to go over.
Yeah, I'll do this pretty quick here. The 13th, January 13th, 4-0. We're going to win. And as we were talking about Rouen, they're on a roll right now. All goals were Louis-Philippe Fontaine, who got 2, has him at 43 points in 40 games. Jeremy Langlois and Andre Lashko got the others. Matthias Rousseau stays hot with his sixth shutout of the season, saving 32 shots. 3-0 Armada over Chicoutimi. Oliver Ciarlo saving 35 shots with his first shutout with his new team, 4th this season. Matt Grosslin gets one. Then Justin Carmino scores twice with 31 points this season. He also has been hot too. Justin Carmino on Armada. Doesn't get talked a whole lot, but small guy, and he hammers it. 6-0 Drummondville win, over Valador. Absolute barn burner. Louis-Philippe Chihuahua gets his second shutout in his career, and both were this season so far. Friend of the show, Luke Woodworth, opens the scoring. Alexis General pops 2. Sam Olivier, Noah Reinhardt, and Ethan Gauthier also score. Drummondville and Rouen tied right now for first place in the Western Conference. So we were talking about before, that should be a good battle now till the end of the season. This was also a great game. Quebec beats Halifax 3-2. Halifax needs to get something going in the second half of the season, as we were talking about, as Moncton is in second with 40 games played, and Halifax in third with 43 games played. James Briner gets 1 goal, 1 assist with his new team in Halifax, as he got traded with Rimouski. Really solid pickup for the Moose. And he'll probably produce more points, as he only had 21 with Rimouski. Brady Schultz also scores for Halifax, the D-man. But goals for Quebec were Louis Gaudet, Raphael Messier, and Julia Ballon, which was the game winner with 3 minutes left. Absolute snipe, too, by Ballon. So that was a sick game. And January 14th, 3-1 Cape Breton win. Antoine Waugh gets first star with 1 goal with the Eagles. Igor Marmiami gets second star with the Titan with 1 goal. Oliver Herud, third star with 2 assists. Cam McDonald, friend of the show, also scores for the Eagles. Halifax beats Moncton 4-3. All 3 stars were Cats players, surprisingly. Preston Lounsbury gets first star with 1 goal, 1 assist. Olivier Bouton with 1 goal, and Miles Mueller with two assists, who we always talk about, who has been terrific. Jan Sprinar gets another goal for the Mooseheads. Pete Reynolds, Marcus Vidicek, and Matthew Catafor all score for the Moose. And that will do it for the game recaps.
Okay, sweet. One thing I wanted to ask you, you're more of a football guy than I am. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Oof. You got me on that one. Even though I hate to say it, man, I think the Chiefs, man, just a powerhouse. Who I want to see win, that's a different story. Even though I'm a Bears fan, so in the conference, Detroit Lions, man, poor fans have been going through it. I saw this. Do you see that clip of the season ticket holder? He had it over like 60 years, and now he's like 85. And that was his first time seeing them win a playoff game, and that was absolutely that was insane. But yeah, I want to see the Lions, but I think the Chiefs have it.
All right. So you guys see scrolling across, we got signupexpert.com/theq. Sign up for all your favorite sports books today and make your picks, try and make you some money. Just because of the courtesy of my own heart, and I want to see you guys do well. I'm going to give you my picks for, well, it'll be today when you guys are listening. So Friday for the Q. You can do all these on Betway. So signupexpert.com/theq/Betway. You'll have to check the odds around 5:30 Atlantic. That's usually when they come out. So the first one I've got is Baie-Comeau over Val-d'Or -1.5. Baie-Comeau is one of the best teams in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. Val-d'Or is one of the worst teams in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. You do the math. I guess it's Quebec Maritimes.
Yeah, get it right, bud.
That's going to take some getting used to. So Baie-Comeau over Val-d'Or, Justin Poirier, Justin Gill. They just got Angus Booth on D, so they're going to absolutely pound the Val-d'Or forers. Next one I got, Charlottetown, Shawinigan under. Both of these teams don't score a lot of goals, with the exception of Charlottetown, maybe Michael Horth and Cole Huckins. But I think this game's going to go under. I don't know what the prop is. It's probably like 5.5, 6.5. So a 3-2 game. I could totally see that for this one. Same thing, Quebec Blainville under. Two teams that don't score very often, right? Neither team has really big names on them, especially after Blainville got rid of a couple of guys. Alexis Bourque comes to mind. And the last one, just because of our Drummondville guest, Drummondville money line over Rimouski, and the fact it's one of the best teams in the league.
Nice.
That's all 4 games on Friday, so you should get a nice little parlay out of that.
Yeah.
And again, signupexpert.com/theq/Betway. Don't forget, the Q Review is now selling hats. They come in gray, they come in navy, $35 for a hat, which is a great deal. If you don't think it's a great deal, walk into a hat store and find me a hat that's $35 or less.
Go to Lids.
I will. If you go to Lids, it's gonna be over 35, guaranteed. If you want a logo on it. But yeah, if you want a hat, just reach out to Theo and I. Maybe you got your partner the wrong thing for Christmas. Maybe you forgot to get someone a Christmas gift. But yeah, you can message Theo or I, get your hat, and they have been selling pretty well. I had to make a 3rd order today.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thanks, guys, for chipping in, and we'll be sure to maybe not even hats. Maybe we'll get something else too in the future. But I guess we'll have to
get an income. We can't really.
Yeah, no, but you know what I mean. You never know though.
Anything else you want to slip in?
No. Going to the Moose game tonight, actually. So maybe go on to signexpert.com and do a little play there with Halifax. I think I got Halifax winning tonight. Even though Dume out. And T-Tan usually does pretty well in Halifax. I don't know what the record is, but you never know. So probably a high scoring game.
Playoffs a few years ago, they really had their number.
Yeah, for sure.
We want to thank Derek Gentile for coming on. We also want to thank you guys. This podcast not possible without you guys. Give yourselves one of those claps. Thank you. You know what? You guys are the reasons we do this. You guys are the reasons that we put out content, the reasons we sell hats, the reasons we talk about this. None of this is possible without any of you. We are very, very thankful for all of you. And as we start 2024, we want to bring you the best content possible.
Yeah.
So let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you want to see. With Chris and Theo, we will see you guys next week. Thank you all for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Peace.